Have you ever felt a strange sense of déjà vu, a feeling that you've lived a moment before? What if that feeling wasn't just a trick of the mind? What if it was a memory? A memory from a life you don't even remember living. Today, we're diving into a story that challenges everything we think we know about life, death, and what comes after. This is the chilling and baffling case of the Pollock Twins. Our story begins in the small town of Hexham, England, in the 1950s. John and Florence Pollock were a happy couple. They had two beautiful daughters, 11-year-old Joanna and 6-year-old Jock. They were a tight-knit family, their days filled with the ordinary joys of life. But on May 5th, 1957, their world was shattered in an instant. On that tragic day, Joanna and Jacqueline were walking to church with a friend. As they crossed the street, a car, driven by a woman who had taken a lethal mix of substances, lost control and veered onto the pavement. Both sisters were killed instantly. The grief that consumed John and Florence was unimaginable. They lost their children, their future, their everything. In the depths of his sorrow, John, a devout Catholic, began to pray fervently. He prayed for a miracle, for his daughters to return to him. He held on to a desperate, unwavering belief that he would see them again. Florence, however, was more pragmatic. She saw their deaths as a final, terrible tragedy. The couple's differing views on faith and the afterlife caused tension, but their shared loss kept them together. Then, about a year later, Florence discovered she was pregnant. John was ecstatic. He was absolutely convinced that Joanna and Jacqueline were coming back to him, reincarnated. He even predicted they would have twins. Doctors dismissed his certainty, telling him the chances were slim. But on October 4th, 1958, Florence gave birth to twin girls. They named them Jillian and Jennifer. From the moment they were born, strange things started to happen. Jennifer, the younger twin, had a peculiar white line across her forehead, right where her deceased sister Jacqueline had a scar from a childhood fall. She also had a birthmark on her hip, in the exact same spot where Jacqueline had an identical birthmark. The coincidences were eerie, but they were just the beginning. As the twins grew, their parents noticed more and more unsettling similarities to their deceased sisters. When they were just a few months old, John and Florence moved away from Hexham, hoping for a fresh start. They never spoke of Joanna and Jacqueline in front of the twins. All the toys, clothes, and photographs of their lost daughters were packed away, hidden from sight. They wanted Jillian and Jennifer to grow up without the shadow of the tragedy hanging over them. But you can't hide from the past. When the twins were around 2 years old, they started asking for toys they had never seen. Toys that had belonged to Joanna and Jacqueline. They would describe them in perfect detail down to their names. John, retrieving the old, dusty boxes from storage, was stunned. The girls immediately recognized the dolls and a wind-up mouse, calling them by the same names Joanna and Jacqueline had given them years before. How could they possibly know? Their behavior became even more puzzling. Jillian, who was born 10 minutes before her twin, seemed to possess the memories and personality of the older sister, Joanna. She was protective of Jennifer, mothering her just as Joanna had mothered Jacqueline. Jennifer, in turn, deferred to Jillian, looking to her for guidance. It was an echo of the past, a dynamic reborn in these two little girls. The family eventually decided to move back to Hexham when the twins were 4. As they walked through the town, a place the twins had never consciously been, Jillian and Jennifer began pointing out landmarks. "That's the school we went to," one of them said, pointing to the school Joanna and Jacqueline had attended. They pointed out the park where their sisters used to play, describing the swings and the slide with uncanny accuracy. Their parents were speechless. The most terrifying moment came when they were walking down the street where the accident had occurred. The twins suddenly became hysterical. They clung to their parents, screaming, "The car! It's coming for us!" They described the vehicle, the fear, the final moments of their sisters' lives with a chilling clarity that could only come from a first-hand memory. They seemed to be reliving the trauma. After this incident, the girls developed a deep-seated fear of cars, often screaming in terror whenever one drove past. The twins also had conversations that made their parents' blood run cold. They would talk about the accident, about what happened before. They'd discuss Christmas presents, describing gifts Joanna and Jacqueline had received the year they died, gifts the twins had never seen or been told about. One day, Florence overheard them talking. Jennifer touched the scar-like line on her forehead and said, "This is the mark I got when I fell on a bucket." Then Jillian pointed to Jennifer's eye and said, "Don't you remember? That's where the car hit you." These weren't just childhood fantasies. The details were too specific, too accurate. John and Florence were living with the ghosts of their daughters, reincarnated in their new children. Convinced that something extraordinary was happening, they contacted Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist from the University of Virginia who was renowned for his research into reincarnation. Dr. Stevenson spent years studying the Pollock twins. He meticulously documented every strange occurrence, every shared memory, every unexplainable piece of knowledge. He interviewed the parents, relatives, and neighbors. He concluded that this was one of the most compelling cases of reincarnation he had ever encountered. The physical birthmarks mirroring the scars of the deceased sisters, the detailed memories of people, places, and events they couldn't have known about. It all pointed to something beyond our current scientific understanding. Interestingly, as the girls grew older, these strange memories began to fade. By the time they were about 5 years old, the vivid recollections of their past lives had all but disappeared. They grew up to live normal, happy lives, with no conscious memory of Joanna or Jacqueline or the strange events of their early childhood. It was as if the window to their past life had closed. So what are we to make of this? Skeptics offer alternative explanations. Could the parents have unconsciously fed the girls information? John Pollock's strong belief in reincarnation might have led him to interpret normal childhood behaviors as signs of a past life. Perhaps the twins overheard conversations about their deceased sisters or saw old photographs. But this doesn't fully explain the birthmarks or the specific, detailed knowledge they possessed at such a young age, especially before they could even speak in full sentences. Could it be a case of genetic memory, a concept where memories are passed down through DNA? It's a fascinating theory, but one with very little scientific backing. Or perhaps it was something else entirely, a phenomenon we don't yet have a name for. The story of the Pollock twins leaves us with more questions than answers. It forces us to confront the possibility that our existence might be more complex than we imagine. Is consciousness tied to the brain, ceasing to exist when we die? Or is it something more, something that can endure, that can carry memories and even physical marks from one life to the next? The case remains a cornerstone in the study of reincarnation, a haunting and powerful story that blurs the line between science and the supernatural. Whether you believe in past lives or not, the story of Jillian and Jennifer Pollock is a profound reminder of the enduring power of love, the mystery of life, and the unbreakable bond of family that might just transcend death itself. What do you think? Was this a miracle, a psychological phenomenon, or something else? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into the world's greatest mysteries.